Hello, everyone, and welcome into Deacon's NFL Talk. I'm your host, Deacon, and welcome back to another episode on the channel, episode 42. And this week we have 4 NFL topics to get to. All of them are actually big topics to talk about. Then after that, we have 10 topics of quick hits, the most we've had in a long time. And then we have 6 highlights and lowlights, probably the most that we've ever had in an episode. After that, we have the recap from Wildcard Weekend, which really wasn't too exciting, so really won't be much to talk about there. After that, I'll have my predictions for the Divisional round, and then we have one question of the week. This episode might be pretty long, so sit back and relax and enjoy the episode. This is Deacon's NFL Talk. All right, everybody, we're going to jump right into the first topic this week. There's only one topic of NFL news that we don't have that isn't a topic about head coach. But to start off the week, we're going to start off with the Patriots hiring former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel as the new head coach in New England, bringing back that winning formula to the Patriots that they haven't had since Bill Belichick. I mean, in case you guys didn't know, because Vrabel kind of disappeared this year, he was with the Browns coaching staff this season as a de facto offensive line coach. So nobody really knows what that is. I didn't even know what that is whenever I looked it up. But he really has kind of just vanished into thin air really this year, and now he's gonna go to the Patriots. And the Patriots, they have the players to build around. They have the foundation. They have Drake May, who is their quarterback of the future, in my opinion. They have solid, young, talented receivers that could develop into really good players. But outside of that, their defense isn't the worst. They have some pieces on that defensive side, and Christian Barmore, if he can get healthy. But outside of that, Jelani Tavai isn't bad. They have a young team with tremendous amount of upside. And I think Vrabel can definitely turn this team around. I would not be surprised if this team had a lot more wins than they did last year. I would say just right off the bat, at least 7-10 next year. Because really, in a coach's first year, it's hard, especially with the situation that the Patriots are in. It's tricky because you don't really have. It's not like you're going to a team like the Chiefs, and it's just not going to be simple just like that. It's not going to be easy. So it is going to be hard for him to kind of build the Patriots. The Patriots do own a top 5 draft pick in this year's draft, but in case you didn't know, Vrabel had interviews from the Jets and Bears before coming to New England. So before coming to New England. So I mean, I could have seen the Jets being an ideal fit. The Bears wouldn't have shocked me either. So really, those are obviously two coach needy teams. But, I mean, the Saints, I guess, I don't really know too much about this one, but the Saints had requested an interview, but I guess no one knows if that really happened or if that ever happened. I don't know, because I didn't really look into this one. I just saw that he requested an interview, or the Saints requested an interview with Mike Vrabel, and we don't know if that happened or not. So he might have just declined that interview. But anyway, New England also interviewed former Texans offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton and former Tampa Bay offensive coordinator Brian Aaron Glenn, but he declined. Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator Brian or something. I forget his last name. But then I guess they interviewed Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, but he declined that interview. Not surprised. I mean, when you go to a team like the Patriots, especially because if you have no relation, if you have no relationship with with a team and they're not a great football team, then no, what's the point? You don't want to coach a bad team. Honestly, if you're Aaron Glenn though, why would you want to leave the Lions, honestly? But with Mike Vrabel, he actually had connections with Robert Kraft. So I mean, it was a good fit. I feel like he was the heavy favorite to the Patriots head coach, as a Bengals fan. I kind of wanted him to be the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati, but someone like Mike Vrabel, he doesn't deserve to be a coordinator. He deserves to be a coach, and there's no doubt in my mind about that. Anyway, next thing, the Patriots had a virtual interview with Lions offense coordinator Ben Johnson, and they wanted to interview Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, but he declined. I think I just said that. So really, Ben Johnson would have been awesome for the Patriots, but like, why would Ben Johnson want to go to the Patriots? Like, it doesn't really make it. Kind of like the Aaron Glenn. Like, why would you want to go to the Patriots? I mean, I don't know. Maybe Ben Johnson wanted to go to the Patriots, and obviously that didn't turn out. Who knows? Anyway, we're going to go to the second topic. The Cowboys part ways with Mike McCarthy after 5 seasons as the Dallas head coach. This is something that really we all should have seen coming. I mean, whenever you have Jerry Jones and how delusional he is, I wouldn't have been surprised if they signed him to a 4-year contract or whatever, however much years they sign or whatever. But McCarthy ends a 5-year run with Dallas, which saw 3 playoff appearances. Just wait, though. I mean, that's 5 years and 3 playoff appearances. So he made the playoffs more than half of the seasons that he had with Dallas. But he had a 1-3 record in the postseason, which is not good at all. It's one thing to make the playoffs. It's another thing to actually win a game in the playoffs, and the Cowboys can't do that. I don't know if it's just the Cowboys being the Cowboys or if it's Mike McCarthy. Really, I don't really know whose fault it is. It's probably a little bit of both. But according to Jerry Jones, he's working quickly to find a new head coach. That is likely a lie. They've had some interviews, I'm pretty sure, but like anytime Jerry Jones says something, just expect the exact opposite. I really don't think he's. I mean, sure, they're searching for a head coach. There's not doubt about that in my mind. I just don't think they're working that quickly. But McCarthy combined for a 49-34 record in his time with the Cowboys, which is the 8th best in the NFL, and also had 3 consecutive 12-win seasons. Which, if you look at it on paper, if I told you that a head coach had 3 consecutive 12-win seasons, and I didn't tell you what coach it was, if you just had to guess which coach this is before you knew it was Mike McCarthy, you might take that coach. But if I tell you that, oh, that's Mike McCarthy, like, do you still want him? Do you want the coach that you have no idea who he is that has 3 consecutive 12-win seasons, or do you want a coach whose name is Mike McCarthy that has 3 consecutive 12-win seasons? It's kind of crazy the fact that if you were to say that about any other head coach, oh wow, he's good head coach, one of the best head coaches in the league right now. But if you find out it's Mike McCarthy, you're like, oh, he's horrible. I mean, just erase the fact that you knew that the coach had a 1-3 playoff record. If you erased that and the coach's name, you would have said, oh, that's a pretty good coach. 3 playoff appearances and 3 consecutive 12-win seasons. I would take that. I mean, if it wasn't Mike McCarthy. So I'm just saying, like, nobody wants, like, Mike McCarthy is going to find some value. I guarantee it. One of the coach-needy teams, the Jets, the Bears, maybe even end up being a coordinator of somewhere, or you could end up like Mike Vrabel. But we'll see what happens. I guess what I'm trying to say is it really matters what you think or who the coach is. Like, yeah, like I said, if you were to tell me that and I didn't know it was Mike McCarthy, and then you told me afterwards it was Mike McCarthy, I'm not taking him. I'm just not. Anyway, second to last topic, the third topic, Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean done for the remainder of the season after a devastating knee injury he suffered in the wildcard game against the Packers. This was a huge blow to really Nakobe Dean, who's been through so much adversity throughout his career, his young career. Really unfortunate to see this go the way it did for the Eagles. I mean, he tore his patellar tendon, and the injury apparently is not good at all. And he exited the field on a cart, which is the worst possible thing that can happen. So you just hate to see that. It's just he is a player that has tremendous upside, and he has the talent and the potential to be an outstanding player. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And he really has actually put up really solid numbers. I mean, he finished the year with 128 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 deflections, and 1 interception. And if that isn't good enough, this is a linebacker who really no one really knows about in the league right now that received 2 All-Pro votes. And this is obviously fan votes, so these could be 2 Eagles fans, but 2 All-Pro votes, that's pretty good for someone who is as young as he is. He's only been in the league for a couple years, probably 2 or 3 years. It hasn't been that long, and he's already dealt with so many injuries. And you just hate to see it go down like this, especially in a playoff game where really, like, you didn't necessarily need to play because, I mean, you beat them by 12 points. You would have been fine. It's just a lot of what-ifs come into your head after something like this happens, especially because they handled the Packers well. I mean, I didn't really see the Packers winning that game unless, like, Jordan Love doesn't throw interceptions, which he did. But, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, but hopefully there is a slim chance he returns if the Eagles make the Super Bowl. That'd be awesome. But last topic. This was actually a late topic earlier in the week, but apparently Colorado head coach, you already know who I'm talking about with the first 2 words, Deion Sanders says the Cowboys head coach vacancy is intriguing. What? I could honestly see this happening. I wouldn't be surprised it would happen because it's Deion Sanders of all people. But he says he'll consider coaching an NFL team if he can coach his sons, Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders. Here's the problem, Deion. Shedeur Sanders is likely going to be a top 2 pick, if not the first overall pick. The top 3 picks are the Titans, the Browns, and Giants. I'm pretty sure it's in that order. Top 5, I think the top 5 is Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jaguars. Guess what? The Cowboys aren't even in there. And so if the Cowboys really want to, like, trade Dak Prescott and a couple first-round picks from next year's draft, like the 2026 draft, then possibly they could get number 1 overall and maybe a couple more picks, maybe number 2 overall. It is going to be very hard for him to do that. And if Deion's getting very hopeful, like, maybe I can get hired by one of those top 5 teams, like Jaguars, if anything, but the Jaguars aren't going to pick Shedeur Sanders. Neither will the Browns could if the Titans pick Cam Ward or somebody. But I'm sorry, Deion, but I don't think either of his sons are going to the Cowboys. I would say Shiloh Sanders is the most likely player to land with the Cowboys, but even I don't really know if that's happening. I mean, he said lots of times that he does love Colorado, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed, only because this is like kind of what's the word? This is outside reality here. But if he joins Dallas and, like, trades or cuts Dak Prescott, which he probably would if they were to get Shedeur Sanders, they would income $103.2 million in dead cap hit. So that is actually a lot of money. So really trading or cutting Dak doesn't help things. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, this is one thing where I wouldn't be surprised because it's Deion Sanders. So I really want to be that surprised if this happened. I could definitely see him being the head coach of Dallas, but I feel like he's too loyal in Colorado. I don't even think Colorado's going to be good at all next year. I mean, Sanders played for Dallas in 1995, which was the year they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, there is a connection there between him and Jerry Jones. So, yeah, there's a connection there in Dallas. But I just saw that the Cowboys had interviews with Robert Saleh and Kellen Moore. So that is definitely something to look out for. So I'd probably say one of those guys is likely going to get it more than Deion for sure. I would be very surprised if Deion would. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised, but it's just kind of it's too dreamy. Like I think the Cowboys are dreaming, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Anyway, quick hits. That's all for NFL news. The Giants let front office executive Ryan Coden reunite with Mike Vrabel in New England. Coden was with Vrabel during his time in Tennessee. Coden spent the last two seasons with the Giants. He has 25 years of experience in the NFL, leading the 2016 Panthers to the playoffs and the Titans to the playoffs 4 out of his 7 years with them. I don't know what year they took the Titans to the playoffs. I'm guessing most recently in 2021, but I don't know. The Browns promote Tommy Rees to offensive coordinator. Rees, the team's pass game was the team's pass game specialist and tight ends coach. Rees, who is 32 years old, becomes one of the youngest coordinators in the NFL, and nobody knows whether he or Kevin Stefanski will call plays. That is probably something we'll see during the offseason or later, maybe in a few months or something. Texans release Deion Johnson and ends up in Baltimore again. Johnson played for the Panthers, Ravens, Texans, and Ravens, all in that order. So he played for the Panthers at the start of the year, then the Ravens, and the Texans, and ended up with the Ravens again. And apparently this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if this is right or not, but I saw this from ESPN, so it's probably right. Johnson cannot play for Baltimore this year because the move is not official until February 10th, which is the day after the Super Bowl. So even if the Ravens make it to the Super Bowl, Deion Johnson is not going to play, which doesn't make sense why you sign him or any of that. It just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, Bo Nix says he's been dealing with a back fracture throughout the year, or at least since the 29-19 win over the Raiders. Nix said the injury was annoying, but we all deal with annoying things. He finishes his outstanding rookie season with 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He also broke 2 records, which is very impressive. He's been an outstanding player this year. Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, but I think since Jaden Daniels is in the divisional round, he's going to run away with it. We're going to go on to the next one. The NFL announces that the Colts will play in Berlin in 2025. I don't know why we're still doing these international games. It doesn't really make that much sense to me. I don't know if you guys can hear me well, but I'll try my best. The game will be played at Olympic Stadium. It is going to be the first ever regular season game in Berlin, and the NFL wants 8 international games in 2025. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh to have a heart procedure and hip replacement during the offseason. Yikes. On October 13th, Harbaugh was dealing with an irregular heartbeat before the 23-16 win over the Denver Broncos. He wore a heart monitor for 2 weeks, in case you guys didn't remember that. That was a big topic then. Falcons interview former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. Atlanta fired their defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake last week. Anarumo spent 6 seasons in Cincinnati, so he's got a lot of experience under his belt. All right, 3 more. Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer thinking about retirement after Mike McCarthy's exit. There is a chance that Zimmer coaches for a new team. The Bengals actually are a pretty big favorite right now because he spent 6 years in Cincinnati. So he has some, I don't know if it would be with Mike Brown, but he has some connection there. Packers quarterback coach Tom Clements retires. The only reason this is a big topic because Clements coached Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love. I'm pretty sure he coached the final 2 years of Brett Favre's career, so I could be wrong, though. Or at least the final 2 years in Green Bay. This is Clements' second time retiring and likely his last. So, last quick hit. Miami Dolphins selected team to play in Madrid, Spain. The game will be played in Bernabeu Stadium. I believe I said that right. I'm not sure. Sounds like I have a cold. You're right. I'm getting one. So, we're going to go on to highlights and lowlights. The first one, though. First one is crazy. The Ladd McConkey touchdown. 3rd and forever. I'm going to pull this up here. I'm going to find it first. All right, here we go. So right now, 23-6, Chargers feel like they have no hope left after 3rd and 26. Yeah, at their own, what is that, the 9-yard? I think it's the 9-yard line. Here we go. Look at this right here. I don't even know. There's how do you just how did the Texans let that up? He just catches it right over his head. No one's catching McConkey. It's too easy. And he was gone. This is Where was this earlier for the Chargers? Like, this is the play they needed. I mean, it's just a simple dig. Catches it over his head. Runs for his life and just, yeah, I don't know how. How is it that easy? It was that easy for him, but they couldn't hardly get anything going before that. Anyway, the next one, the Texans blocked field goal. This was incredible and an incredibly high altitude of distance in the air. I'm going to play it right now. Look at this. 23-12. I don't know. I think it's a field goal. It just gets shot up in the air. And I don't know what Dicker was trying to do by knocking it down. Like, it clearly didn't help anything. And that didn't matter. But, yeah, the Texans were all over the Chargers. And I thought the Chargers were definitely going to win that one. Like, look at this. That was, like, incredibly high. I don't even know what Dicker was trying to do. Doesn't really make that much sense to me. But, whatever. I mean, I guess you want to try and get a bad bounce so someone can get it. But, yeah, obviously the coach is pumped. I believe that's a special teams coordinator, if anything. Anyway, we're going on to the next one. The Broncos fake punt. This was actually crazy. The first quarter of the game was a pretty good game. A little bit of the second quarter. After that, it was all Buffalo. I'll show you why in a minute. Here it is. 4th and 8. It's a fake. Takes a shot. I thought he was going to be overthrown a little bit, but caught by Marvin Mims Jr. And that was just way too easy. Like, how do you make it that easy? That's what I want to know. But, yeah. I mean, yeah, after the Broncos' first drive, it was like all Buffalo. But, yeah, I honestly thought he was going to overthrow that. Obviously, he didn't. And, yeah, but whatever. The next one, speaking of the Bills being all over the Broncos, here's where it started. 4th and 1 right here. 13-7. Allen wants to run it. The Broncos D-line is not letting it happen. And Allen just says a prayer. Chucks it up there. And it's caught by Ty Johnson. I think Josh Allen has made his case to be MVP. And obviously this week, or tomorrow, or whenever the game is, the Ravens-Bills game, that is going to be deciding our MVP. Whoever wins that one is going to be MVP for sure. Unless Burrow somehow gets in, I hope he does. But just look at that throw right before the defender can get to it. When I was watching this live, I totally thought that was intercepted. Like, his foot barely. Like, it was really close. I think it's too hard to overturn that. But what a play. What a throw by Josh Allen. What a catch by Ty Johnson.
That's a touchdown to me.
That's incredible. Like, look how close it was to hitting his fingers, or at least his hand. That's what you call a tight window throw. He didn't even mean to. He just kind of threw it up. And we're just going to see what was happening. But what a play. I mean, the Bills have to be a Super Bowl favorite after that game, for sure. This is one thing that is actually going viral right now for whatever reason. Here it is. A.J. Brown reading a book mid-game. I did find out that this book is called Inner Excellence, in case any of you were wondering. And apparently, it is a bestseller on Amazon.
I haven't seen too many people read books.
Like, out of all books, bestseller on Amazon in books. I don't know if it's bestseller on Amazon, like, overall, or if it's, like, in, like, books. But I guess Nick Sirianni came out and said that he's been reading that book for like a while now, and no one ever really noticed it. But I don't really know if that's true or not. We'll see, I guess. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but that's kind of funny. I actually never knew that. That's crazy. So, all right, we're gonna go into the next one. The last one, the next and last one, a 57-yard. Actually, no, we actually have another one. Hold on. I think we have one from the Commanders game, and you already know what it is. Game-winning doink. Here we go. 20-20. 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. 37-yard attempt. It's up, off the upright, and in. Wow. That is one of the worst ways to lose if you're a Buccaneers fan or a player. That's one of the worst ways to lose. You think it's gonna miss after the upright, after I hit the upright, and then he nails it. Like, just barely sneaks in. Barely. That's crazy. And someone that has, I guess, OCD, and gets like like you could tell he was nervous. Like he was fixing his hair and everything, playing with a sock. That's crazy. That's so cool they did that. We're gonna go to the last one now. Jared versus 57-yard scoop and score. Here it is. The Rams were actually all over the Vikings. I think the Vikings are major frauds. Or Sam Darnold did not look good in this game. Look at this. Like, he just runs away with it. And he's just gone. And he's going to leap into the end zone right there. But, yeah, I mean, the Rams just made it look so easy. Like, the Vikings put up, like, zero fight. Like, here's a crazy stat. A crazy stat is that the Vikings had as many points as the Rams had sacks in that game. That is bizarre. 3 field goals, which puts up 9 points, and then the Rams had 9 sacks. So, that's just actually crazy. I mean, that Rams defense is actually something. Like, the question going into this year after Aaron Donald retired was like, how is Rams defense going to do without AD? And obviously, they're playing outstanding football. Like, watch out. If they beat the Eagles, they're legit contenders for a Super Bowl. Like, look out. They're coming. Anyway, the Wildcard Weekend recap wasn't really that interesting other than the Vikings-Commanders game. It was kind of boring. Starting off with a Saturday at 4 o'clock, I believe. The Texans were all over the Chargers, 32-12. C.J. Stroud can still sling it when he wants to. And Justin Herbert still can't win in the postseason. So, after that, there was a Saturday night. Ravens-Steelers. The Ravens were all over Pittsburgh in that one, 28-14. After that, we saw the Bills take on the Broncos Sunday at 1 o'clock. The Bills absolutely smothered the Broncos, 31-7. And if you wanted to sum up that game in a few words, basically, that game was summed up. The way you can sum it up was by saying that one Bills player step over the Broncos player. I forget what his name is. Something Hollins, I think. But that pretty much summed up the Broncos game. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to look it up. It was a step over. It was crazy. Anyway, Sunday in the afternoon, the Eagles were all over the Packers, 22-10. The Commanders edged away with a victory by the Doink, 23-20. The Rams were all over the Vikings. Their defense is actually insane, 27-9. All right, that is the wildcard recap. Divisional round predictions. Here we go. Today at 4:30. All right. It's what is it? It's 3:30 basically. So in an hour, we're gonna see the Texans take on the Chiefs. C.J. Stroud, please save us as early as possible, and I hope the defense plays like they did against the Chargers and the offense. But I'm taking the Chiefs over the Texans by 2 touchdowns, if not 3. Like, they're absolutely gonna get smothered. But after that, the Lions are taking on the Commanders, and they really, it should be a really interesting game. But the Commanders fans are getting way too confident. We want Detroit, really? I can't wait to see the Lions absolutely blow them up and see their reactions. If you guys haven't seen that, the Commanders fans like saying, we want Detroit, we want Detroit. I'm sorry, but they're getting way too confident. Like, Jane Daniels is good, but he's not that good. The Lions are winning that one. For Sunday, though, I'm taking the Eagles over the Rams in a tight one. And then, arguably, game of the year. The Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. This game is going to feed families. 2 MVP caliber quarterbacks. Whoever wins this game is going to be MVP, without a doubt. At 6:30, January 19th, tomorrow. in Buffalo, and it's going to be cold. Single digits, snowy weather, nothing better than that. I'm taking the Bills, though. Hey, hear me out. Don't get me wrong. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, they're going to put up a fight, and that defense is getting better as the season goes on. But the Bills have the upper hand in cold weather. I guess I should say cold weather. The Bills have the upper hand in the snow. The Bills have Josh Allen. The Bills have a better defense. I just like the Bills in this game. Don't get me wrong, the Ravens are going to put up a fight. Lamar and Derrick Henry are going to carry that offense. I would not be surprised if the Ravens won that, but I'm taking the Bills. Right now, I'm at 179 and 95 overall record. 0-0 on the week so far, and 13-9 on the month. Last week I went 3-3, which isn't great. The month of December has been the best month of the year. In the month of December, I went 61-13. I'm only 13-9. Not that great. All right. Question of the week. This is actually a question that I never thought that I'd be asking you guys. But apparently this was a thing. I guess. Is Mike Tomlin on the hot seat? Answer that question for me. Some of you will say no. Some of you will say yes. There's reasons for both cases. Let's start with no. If he's not on the hot seat, he's not on the hot seat because, one, he's Mike Tomlin. Two, he's an outstanding coach. Like, you can't just, like, straight up fire him for, like, I don't know, like, whoever. I don't really know. I can't think of a coach at the top of my mind. You can't just, like, fire a guy. Like, let's say you can't just fire Mike Tomlin for Lou Anarumo. And I'm not saying Lou Anarumo is bad, but Lou Anarumo is not on Mike Tomlin's level. And it's just so hard, like, to say that he's on the hot seat. But if you were to say yes, you would say, like, the one big thing that stands out, if you were to say yes, is he can't win in the postseason. He just can't. It's been a long time since the Steelers have done that. And I would love to see the Steelers keep Mike Tomlin. I think they will. I feel like, the Steelers came out and said that they're not going to get rid of him. But my answer to this question is no. He's not on the hot seat. You can make a case for both of them, like yes and no. You just can't, like, I just don't see that happening at all. To me, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, but it's just not going to happen. Whether you want it to or not, he's too good of a coach to just let walk right out the door. You can't, unless you were getting a guy like Bill Belichick, maybe. Depends on what kind of style of coach you want, but I would say no. He's not on the hot seat. I think he'll be just fine. I think he's gonna coach somewhere else at some point, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Anyways, that is the episode. We were almost on time. I'll take it. 33 minutes. I'll see you guys next week. Check out last week or 2 weeks ago's episode. I talked about Saquon Barkley not beating the rushing record. So that was actually disappointing to get that news. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, hit the like, the subscribe button, and the notification button to get notified of every single upload this channel makes. Here's one last minute topic. The Titans are hiring Mike Borgonzi as their new general manager. The Titans fired the general manager earlier last month, I think. But yeah, the Titans are getting a new general manager. That was something I wanted to get in last minute because I just saw it pop up. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week for another great episode on Deacon's NFL Talk.